Today we finally got our hands on one of the most awaited gaming laptops for the first half of 2020. This is the Asus TUF A15, and in today's video let's take a close look at how it feels and what the different spec options are. Hey guys, Ash here from C4eTech, and if you do end up enjoying this video, then please consider subscribing and turning on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get this video started. Asus has redesigned quite a few things about their TUF series. Beginning with the lid, we have this grey metal finish with just the TUF logo at the center, very sleek. Personally, I quite like this one. Asus is calling this Fortress Grey. We also have another more gamery option with angles on the polycarbonate lid and a brushed finish. That's Bonfire Black. Opening it up, and yes, it does pass the one finger lid opening test, we have a plastic interior. There's a sizable trackpad, and Asus has brought back the right and left clicky buttons. The touchpad itself is plastic, but I'm willing to give that a pass since this is not an ultrabook and here most of us would connect an external mouse while gaming. Moving on to the keyboard, we have single zone RGB with 3 brightness levels controlled by the function plus up and down keys. As far as the feel of the keys themselves go, I like them. The key travel is nice and the feedback from them is good. This is one of the better laptop keyboards out there. Now about the keyboard, we have vents for air intake, but I will get more into the cooling and temperatures later on in a detailed video. For now, let's take a look at the screen. It's a 15.6 inch 1080p 144Hz panel. It doesn't get that bright, but it is good enough for indoor usage. The screen's got an anti-glare finish with colors. It covers only 45% of the NTSC color gamut. It's not particularly great, but for gaming, the 144Hz refresh is what's important. And there's support for adaptive sync on both 60 as well as 144Hz panel options. Yep, that's right, we have a 60Hz and a 144Hz panel option for the A15. Asus has also managed to cram in a webcam here. It's 720p of course, but perfectly serviceable. And the extended lip where the webcam lives also serves as a wedge when we need to flip open the laptop screen. There's a normal amount of screen flex for a plastic chassis, and even with the display shut down, we can see the status LEDs for the laptop. That's a nice touch. Another good thing about the TUF A15 is that it comes with an HDMI out, HDMI 2.0B to be precise, so there is support till 4K 60Hz, which is more than enough for most people. One thing that we did notice is that the HDMI port here is connected not to the dedicated GPU but via the integrated Radeon graphics. We do have a Gen 2 USB 3.2 Type-C port though that supports DisplayPort 1.4 and is connected directly to the discrete GPU, the NVIDIA 1660 Ti in our case. Now we will talk about the different SKUs of this laptop in a minute. First, let me round off the rest of the I/O. Beginning with the left, we have the power connector for the 180-watt power brick, a reverse Ethernet port, the HDMI port, a couple of USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, USB Type-C, and then the 3.5mm jack. To the right, we have a USB 2 port, great for plugging in a wired mouse, especially if you're a right-handed gamer. Then there's an air exhaust, and finally a Kensington block. The back doesn't have any ports since we have vents for air exhausts in here. Asus also claims that they've managed to make these vents self-cleaning by catching and sending out larger dust particles from the ends of these vents. Okay, let's now play a few games while I run through the different SKUs that are available. First off, the main reason I'm so hyped about the A15 is that it comes with the new 4th Gen Ryzen laptop chips. This new generation of laptop chips come with high core counts and significantly better single-thread performance than the last gen. Here we have the 8-core 16-thread Ryzen 7 4800H. It's got a base clock of 2.9 GHz with a max boost clock up to 4.2 GHz. This is one heck of a powerful CPU and Asus has managed to cool it fairly well. We have the Armoury Crate software and Asus lets us switch between 4 intelligent system profiles. We have the Windows default or balanced, silent, performance and an all-out turbo mode. I like the fact that we get system profiles and not fan profiles. So even on performance, the fans don't ramp up until you throw a demanding workload at it. Of course, for all our testing, we kept the A15 on its turbo setting. Now to get an idea of just how powerful the CPU is, take a look at the Cinebench R20 run. Yes, this Ryzen 7 can put many high-end Intel laptop chips to shame in CPU-intensive workloads. Do remember though the TDP is 45 watts. Now Asus also sells Ryzen 5 4600H and Ryzen 9 4900H SKUs. This variant is right in the middle. We did notice that with the CPU pegged at full throttle, the fans can get pretty loud. The 2 bottom-firing speakers can still overpower them. They are really loud and some of the best speakers that we get on a gaming laptop in this range, but I'd still prefer gaming with a nice pair of headphones. Okay, we know that these new Ryzen processors love really high-speed RAM, and Asus has delivered on that front. Our SKU comes packing 16 gigs of dual-channel DDR4 3200 MHz RAM. We have a lower spec 8 gig model, and the system supports up to 32 gigs. And yes, it is user upgradable. Taking a look at the storage next, we have an NVMe M.2 SSD, that's the boot drive, and it is paired with a 1TB 5400 RPM hard disk. Yes, the hard disk is slow, but it is good enough for storing movies, TV series and such. As for the main boot drive, we can configure it from 256 gigs all the way up to 1 terabyte. Although I feel the 512 gig option would be the sweet spot for most people. And finally, we have the discrete GPUs. Well, we get 4 options here, NVIDIA 1650 and 1650 Ti. These two come with 4 gigs of VRAM, both 50 watt parts. And then on the higher end, the 1660 Ti, that's what our machine is equipped with. And at the top of the line, we have the RTX 2060, both with 6 gigs of VRAM. The RTX 2060 on here is gonna be a 90 watt part in case any of you are wondering. So now that we have two very different classes of GPUs, we have two different heat pipe designs and thermal outputs as well. We will get into these later in a more in-depth gaming review. For now, these are our initial impressions on the Asus A15. The A15 with the 1660 Ti seems to be great at games. Yes, the temperatures of the CPU did spike up to 80s in our testing, and at times the GPU hits high 70s, but the overall gameplay remains smooth even on demanding titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So yes, this seems to be an excellent machine for AAA gaming if you have a budget of around 1 lakh. And esports titles can make great use of that 144Hz refresh as well. As far as the software goes, we have Windows 10 Home on board, which is absolutely fine. And while Asus did install stuff like McAfee antivirus, I promptly uninstalled that. Actually, I have a question for you guys. How many of you still use a dedicated antivirus software? And if you do use one, what are you using? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, coming back to this variant of the A15, it costs about 99,000 rupees, but this series of laptops, the A15, it starts from 61,000. That's the lowest SKU. So what do you guys think? Would you be willing to pick one of these up at these prices? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this video. If you do end up liking it, then please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.